Let's get some reaction to City's defeat at the Amex, shall we, with Stuart Pearce. Morning, Pearcey.
Good morning, Pearcey.
Morning, gents. Morning.
Hey, Stuart, before we move on, a couple of quick things. First, Brian Gruder took his goal brilliantly. And what about James Milner, now the second oldest and second youngest ever Premier League goal scorer?
Incredible.
Well, Millie's a shining example of what you need to be a top professional with longevity in this country. He's fantastic. You know, he's the epitome of what a professional should be. You know, I've been fortunate enough to work with him many years ago, back in the 1870s, I think it was, when Millie first started out, you know. But, but he's brilliant. But some result again, when I saw it was 1-0, I thought, well, you know, this will go City's way. But City over the last year or so have been in the ascendancy in some games, and they've lost leads going back to the start of last year, and it's quite alarming, really. Normally, if you're having on a bad run or not playing particularly well, once you get your nose in front, that settles things down and you're nice and confident, but not so sure these days. It's been a bad start for City.
It has, Pearcey. I'm looking at it. I did the game against Tottenham. I thought Tottenham were excellent. But even coming back off that Club World Championship in America, Pearcey, I'm looking at City, mate, and there's just something not right, mate. I think the fear factor's definitely gone from them. They went through that period, maybe 2 years, 18 months, everybody was terrified of them, and with some justification. But I think that's gone, mate. I think, and I look at teams now, and they're just going to have I'm not saying they don't have any respect. Of course they've got respect, but I think they're having a go, mate.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's been too many times I watched City and the opposition break at them, Ali, and the opposition outnumber them, breaking at them. And that's quite alarming. You shouldn't see that particularly readily in matches or game after game scenarios, you know. So, yeah, the fear factor has definitely gone, no doubt about that. But I think we've got a brilliant Premier League developing here with the newly promoted teams, all got a win under their belt so far, you know, and everyone seems to be beating everyone, apart from maybe Liverpool, which I think are nailed on to retain the title again, personally.
I just want to ask you about City's recruitment, Stuart. Do you think it's been a bit below par recently? And I don't just mean this last window, you know, but I look at players who come in, Nunes and Aït-Nouri, Kuznov, Marmoush, maybe even Bob and Doku. You know, I look back to the days of Riyad Mahrez. Has the recruitment been a little below par?
I think the opposition and the league has got stronger, I would say. I think that's played its part in this. But recruitment's never easy, you know. Sometimes you can, you know, Haaland was one of the biggest talents across Europe, and signing him's a no-brainer. But sometimes, you know, bringing players in, and they play in a very defined style as well, don't they, you know? So you might even point the finger at Jack Grealish and say, you know, Jack, before he got to City, and then the style of play, the slow build-up, maybe did it suit him or whatever, and now he seems to have got his tail up again, going to Everton in a more free-flowing style. I don't know, you know.
Pearce, do you think, I mean, we're saying, I'm saying, and I still believe it, the fear factor's gone a little bit. But am I maybe doing a disservice to the other teams? Is one of the problems City have got that they've maybe not went back the way, but they've stood still, whereas Liverpool, Arsenal, clearly Tottenham watching them, other teams have actually continued to progress?
Yeah, there's no surprises when you play City now. You know exactly what you're going to get. You know the style of play that you're going to get from them in many ways. You know, don't forget they've lost one or two top talents, namely De Bruyne, you know what I mean, who is a game changer and a game winner in himself, certainly in his pomp he was. So, listen, we better not write them off just yet, let's say, shall we?
Yeah.
Look at the next 3 fixtures, by the way. They've got the Manchester derby, followed by Napoli at home and then Arsenal away. So it doesn't get any easier. Quick word on what happened at the City ground, Stu. West Ham, goodness me. If anybody needed a win, it was Graham Potter. Oh, well, actually, or maybe it was Nuno. I don't know.
Well, this is the question. Which one needed it a bit more? I think with a meeting with the chairman this morning, I think he's got Nuno. It might have been Forest, but West Ham were desperate for that. I was at the Wolverhampton game in the week when they went 2-1 up in the cup. You thought they were going to coast through now, and Strand Larsen made a big difference when he come on, and they looked, shell-shocked at that stage. But it'll do the club and Graham, it'll give them a big lift, especially going into the international week.
Pearce, just before you go, transfer deadline day today. We talked about Manchester City and recruitment. All the stories are that Donnarumma is going to end up there. If you're James Trafford, how are you feeling right now?
You'll probably be a little bit disappointed, but, you've got a top goalkeeper there as well, Donnarumma as well. If I was advising him, I would say, look, at the age you are at the moment, see this as a positive if Donnarumma comes in. You've got competition, so you've got to up your game. And also you've got two great role models that have been around the block to learn from over the next year or so. So I would use it as a positive rather than a negative if I was him.
Stu, thanks very much.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.